we do number 2, we want to move so that we do not have a decimal in our problem. So as we are looking at number 2, we talked in class that if we are going to be multiplying, we are probably going to multiply everything by 100. Which would now give us in number 2, 1060 n. If you didn't have this down, make sure you're writing it down. I know. Viewers to have taken notes, they're online and the video. And then you're going to start at least have this one done so you can have a part of it done. We're going to also have minus 4592 because we're moving our decimal over 2 places. Is equal to, we're taking 18.8 times 100, so that's going to give us 1,880. My next step at this point, Sage, is to do what?
Subtract or add 4,592.
We're going to add that on both sides. 4,592. So using our calculators, we now have 1,060 n is equal to, or what'd you get when you added those?
I got 6,472.
So we have 6,472. If I am solving that, my next step, Carmen, is to do what? Divide. And when we do our division, in this one, we're going to divide on both sides by our coefficient of n. The coefficient of n is 1,060. And we should have n is equaling 6 point, what did we get when we did the division? 6.10, and it kind of keeps going on, so I would say if you stopped at this point.
Yeah.
I know it.
It tripped me up a lot.
Yeah.
I
So, the answer in the back for this one said that we should have had, wasn't it 5 something? Yeah. And that doesn't work out. So, sorry about that. So I think when you were looking at that, I know that one kind of messed some people up as they looked at that. Number 3, we're going to again multiply by 100. And the most common mistake that I had when people multiplied this one by 100 is they didn't take the u, which is a 1 here, times 100. So they put down 602, and then they put plus 1u. And it should be plus 100u. And then it should be equal to 200 minus 150u. So the most common mistake is probably here and also this one, getting 200. People like to just leave that as 2 because they think, oh, there's no decimal. Well, there really is. It's 2.0. And now I'm not going to finish this one, but you should have added the smaller variable. Always add your variable first. So we have plus 150u. So 602 equal plus 250u. Keeping our equal sign in the same spot, equaling 200. And then the fractional ones, and we want to look at number 8 on the back. So as we look at number 8, what do I want to multiply everything by, Sophie, so that I do not have a fraction? I'm going to multiply by 40. So I look at my common denominators of 8 and 5, and I'm going to multiply each thing by 40. So when I am doing that, I have a negative 1/8 w, and I'm taking it times 40 over 1, minus 2/5 times 40 over 1 equals, and in this case, I'm going to continue. And does it matter if I put the 40 behind the w or in front of the 1/8? Does it matter? Now, with some of you, like here I put it behind, some of you prefer to put it in front, it doesn't matter. 40 times 1/8 W plus 40 times 2/5. So that the reason we're always putting the 40 over 1 is because we want to cancel. So 8 goes into 45 times, and I'm taking -1 times 5 times W, -5W. 5 goes into 48 times. I am not just putting down the 2 or the 8, it is 2 times 8, which gives me a -16. Equals. 8 goes into 40, again, 5 times. 5 times 1W gives us 5W. Plus 5 goes into 48 times 16. And the most common mistake that I'll have people tell me is that there is no solution or all real numbers for this one. Yeah, so. Oh, 3/5. So we get 25. Thank you. I have that in mind here. I just wasn't looking at that. So if we are looking at that, we now want to get rid of our smaller W, which means I actually want to add, in this case, 5W to both sides. When I add the 5W, and I'm keeping my equal sign, that leaves me with this -16. This is 0W, which is just 0. But on this side, you get 10W plus 24. And you should be able to finish that problem by subtracting the 24 on both sides and then dividing by 10. And this one comes out pretty nice. It's a nice integer answer, okay? So what I would like for you to do is set this workbook aside, because then a little later in class I'll have you, I want to get back your quizzes today to you. And I want to take our notes on D11. And then talk about what your assignment is on D12. So, as we look at D11, by the way, we are getting very close to being done with this unit. We will not, I think 14 is where we finish this. Is there a lesson 15? Yeah, lesson 15. So we have probably next week is when we will be looking at taking our tests on this. This is a really long unit. It seems to go on forever. But hopefully we're getting better now. Those of you, your quiz overall were quite good. So it says whenever you have an equation that involves decimals, the easiest way, what I would like you to write down, is to multiply by a power of 10. Do you have to do this? No! You have a calculator, you need to turn to the front as you're taking notes. Okay? Turn all the way to the front. Do not let that distract you. There you go. Powers of 10. Multiply. So when we have our decimals, we want to do that multiplication. Same thing with fractions. What do we want to do? We want to clear by multiplying by the least common multiple first. So as we look at those, we're always going to multiply by our power of 10 and multiply by our least common multiple to make it an easier equation. So that's what we were talking about last week on Friday when we were doing the problems. Okay? So we're going to look at this problem. And then when you look at these, they're not that bad as we were writing. It says, you and your friends order pizza. You order a medium pizza with 3 toppings. Your friend orders a large pizza with 1 topping. A medium pizza with no topping costs $5.45. A large with no topping, $7.95. You pay the same amount. What was the price of one of the toppings? So, if we are writing our equation, and as we write this one, we need to be thinking about our two things are being equal. Well, what was being equal if we look at that? We had a what? The cost of our pizza, the medium, right? You order a medium, so we're going to put medium pizza. plus we had 3 toppings, so 3 times our toppings. Our friend orders a large pizza, plus only has 1 topping. So what does our equation look like if we want to put in the dollar values? Our medium pizza, 5.45, plus 3, and I'm going to use X for toppings. So X in our case stands for toppings. And the reason I use X is that I think T looks like a plus too many times. I hate when they use T's. So I'm going to change it to an X for our toppings, okay? Equals our large price, which was $7.95, plus 1X. Now, being said that we said we can get rid of our decimals, is it hard to work this problem with decimals? Do we really need to get rid of the decimals? Probably not. So which variable should we move first? Subtract our 1x from both sides. Always move your smaller one, and you're going to see when we get into inequalities why I'm kind of picky on doing it that way. So we have 5.45 plus 2x is equal to 7.95. And again, we could multiply here by 100, but to me, this is pretty much, I'm working with money and my decimals aren't huge, and I subtract 5.45, and that's pretty easy subtraction without moving it and getting rid of my decimal, so that I have 0 here. 250 divided by 2 means that each topping they are charging us is $1.25. So it says, what's the price of 1 topping? $1.25 for 1 topping. So I want to make sure and answer the story part of the problem, okay? Could you have done this problem and multiplied by 100? Yes. The new equation, you would have had 545 plus, but here's where I see a lot of people making mistakes. They'll put 545, then they want to put 3x, when it has to be 300x equals 795 plus 100x. So to me, a lot of times with the decimals, I might even just do it because I have my calculator anyway, okay? And if we need to move seats already, I can do that. If some of you can't sit by where you're sitting, I can make that change. If it's too hard for you to keep your hands off or stay facing forward or whatever that happens to be. All right, let's take a look at this one. I want you to try and write an equation, okay? Dawn and Jenna are growing their hair. Dawn's hair is 10 inches long. Grows at 0.46 inches, almost a half an inch, less than half an inch per month. Jenna's at 8 inches and grows at 0.54 per month. In how many months will they be the same? So M is our variable, okay? We're trying to figure out when the months will be the same, okay? When their hair will be the same length, how many months? So this is kind of key to where your variable is, right? So this telling us this information, so try it right now. Do it right up in this white space, way up towards the top. Put your equation. What do you think it's going to look like? And then check with your shoulder partner or the people sitting by you. So start off. What do we know? So we're going to really have, if we think about this, Dawn's hair. We are trying to figure out when Dawn's hair length will be the same as Jen's, right? And what did you know about Dawn's hair, Haley? What's one thing? It's already 10 inches. So we're going to start with 10 plus, okay? Write yours, check with your shoulder partner. We should have a variable with one of the numbers, right? I should have a variable with my decimals because that's how much per month, right? So the per month is trying to tell me, so the 10 plus, this is going to be 0.46. I saw some of yours M. Wyatt, what does Jenna's look like?
8 plus 0.54.
Now, this time let's multiply everything by 100, right, to get rid of our decimals. Would you have to do it with the decimals? No. If we are doing that, 10 times 100 gives us 1,000. We are taking 100 times every single thing. 46m. We're taking 8 times 100, which gives us 800 plus 54m. Smallest variable that I want to move first.
Subtract 46.
Subtract 46 and keep an m with it, right? Not just 46, but 46m. Okay. So as we are doing this, we are then going to have Zach left on this side. I have what? 1,000 equals 800 plus 2. So 54 minus 46. Not quite 10, but 8. We are now going to subtract our 800. And we get 200 equals 8m. To solve it, Chloe, what do I need to do? Divide both sides by 8. Not by m, just by the 8. So that I get, m in this case is going to be equal to 25. And as we're answering the question, remember the question says, oh, how many months does it take their hair to get the same length? This is assuming they didn't cut it, 25 months. So you're going to get answers with a variable. This part, that's just solving it. Then you want to make sure you answer the question, which is putting that label with it, okay? Now, again, could you have done this one without multiplying by 100? Yes, it's pretty easy, especially since most of you have your calculator. But I just wanted to show you that there's some people that hate doing those type of problems. We are not going to do this one. What I would like you to do is we want to take a look at the fraction one. So top of the next page. Okay? Because I think it's better to make sure you're understanding the fraction one. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find our least common multiple of 3, 6, and 8. We're going to start with 8. And we want to think of what are our multiples of 8. So when I think of multiples of 8, I have 8. The next one I have is 16. Okay, so I think of 8 can go in there. The next one I have is 24. 24 is what I want to use, right? 3 goes into 24 8 times. 6 goes into 24 4 times. And 8, if we're looking at this one, 3. So what we are going to do is we're going to start with writing our problem. We're going to put the negative 2/3, and I want you to show multiplying each one by 24 over 1. Equals 24 times 1/6. And remember, when you think of that 1/6 x, the x is really in the numerator. Plus 24 over 1 times the 5/8. Again, simplify first. Someone said, oh, can I take 2 times 24? Well, you can, but 3 goes into 24, and the beauty of that is it goes in there 8 times. So if I'm multiplying that, I'm going to write what, Brett? I'm taking what here to multiply? 8 times negative 2, right? So when I think of that, what am I going to have? Negative 2 times 8 gives us negative 16. So negative 16 is equal to, right? Great, and 6 goes into 24 how many times? 4 times. So I'm going to have what when I multiply that, Braden? 4x. The last one when I'm simplifying, Grace, 8 and 24. 8 and 3. So I would write down plus 15. Much easier problem to solve, okay? Avery, what are you gonna do next to get 4x by itself? Yes, we're subtracting 15. So we subtract the 15. Daniel, when I do that, I'm gonna end up with negative 31 is equal to 4x. Next step, is going to be to do what? So I get negative 31 over 4, and I think, oh, that can't be right. And when you look at these solutions, keep in mind that you can leave, since you started with a fraction, you can leave it like that, but you can change it to a decimal. I would always prefer that if your problem starts with fractions, that you leave this answer, not change it to the decimal. You don't even have to change it to a mixed number. You don't have to change it to negative 7 3/4. You can leave it just as negative 31 over 4, okay? If you like to do the check and get the decimal and plug that in, you could, but I really want you to just kind of keep those, if it starts with a fraction, keep it. So, I would like you to only do this last one right now. And then we are gonna get your homework started because I'd like to give you enough time to do your homework. And I think the decimal ones go a little better. So decide first thing, what is your least common multiple of 4 and 6? Okay, and it's smaller than 24, right? Because if I think of the multiples of 6, okay, if I think of multiples of 6, I start with 6, then I have 12, 18, 24. I want to use the smallest, okay? So do this one, do the work on your paper, and then we'll put it up here.